Jeff Brom returned to his alma mater to be the head coach, and the Louisville Cardinals saw wild success in 2023. A berth in the ACC title game, a 10-win season. Things could not have gone better for Louisville last year. There is a lot of talent leaving, a lot that comes in through the portals. This is one of the teams that hit it out of the park. So can Louisville get back into an ACC title game and win the conference in 2024? You're about to find out what I think here in this video. What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to prediction season. It's where I predict all 134 FBS level college football teams, which means I'm doing your favorite team. So, of course, you should watch. Hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when that video gets uploaded. Thank you for watching this video. It helps support my channel in more ways than you can even imagine. And if you would like to continue to support what I do here on YouTube, please like, comment, share, do anything else you can to help out the channel. It does mean a lot to me. And with all of that out of the way, I got to tell you how we're going to talk about Louisville football in 2024. We're going to take a deep dive into the team's offense, into the defense, and at the end of the day, once it's all said and done, we'll go through their schedule, give it a game-by-game preview and prediction. Louisville football in 2024, okay, I lied. There are a couple more things we have to talk about. First, over here are the stats that both the team's offense and defense put up last season, and right below the team's logo, for your viewing pleasure, I have put the team's coaching staff. So with no further delay, let's start talking about the most important position on the field. That's the quarterback position, and Louisville's going to be losing a very experienced player. Jack Plummer, a former Purdue quarterback, then went over to Cal, and then got back with his former head coach at Purdue, Jeff Brom, for his first year in Louisville, and we saw really good quarterback play out of Jack Plummer last season. 3,204 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Yes, you wanted that interception number to be a little bit lower, but nonetheless, Jack Plummer was a very solid quarterback, at least for the Louisville Cardinals. You also do lose Brock Doman due to graduation. So, who do you return? Well, Harrison Bailey is back, Brady Allen is back, and Pierce Clarkson also comes back to this quarterback room. Harrison Bailey, obviously, probably the favorite in there, but it just felt like this quarterback room was lacking a little bit of something. So enter Tyler Shough. Yes, that is how you pronounce that last name. He's kind of bounced around everywhere, was at Oregon, then went over to Texas Tech, now is at Louisville. He's just never really seen sustained play. He's had injury problems or just seasons haven't necessarily gone his way. So for his final season of college eligibility, he hopes to have a career year with the Louisville Cardinals. Last year with Texas Tech, only 746 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Believe suffered an injury last year. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me on it. His career high in passing yards is only 1,559, the same time where he had the career high in touchdowns, 13. That was in the COVID year in 2020. Tyler Shough is a guy that has some really good potential as a quarterback. He is yet to prove all of his ability over a full consistent season. That's a little worrying if you are the Louisville Cardinals. Nonetheless, I think you get a guy that has some pretty solid upside that I think, if he stays healthy, is going to be a very good quarterback. If not, you'll look to Harrison Bailey or Brady Allen to kind of be that quarterback in 2024. It's going to be Shough to start out with. At least that's what you would think, with Harrison Bailey and Brady Allen being able to back him up. The skill position room loses a lot of talent as well. Top 2 running backs, at least in my opinion, in terms of talent, well, and the stats say it as well, in terms of rushing yards last season, are both gone. 1,000-yard rusher was Jawar Jordan last year, also had 13 touchdowns. He is gone. And Isaac Arendo, a former Wisconsin transfer, 810 yards and 11 scores. You lose him as well. So your dynamic backfield is gone. You are going to be returning Maurice Turner, apologies for the stutter there, 284 yards and a touchdown for him last season, as well as Kejuan Brown, who will be coming back to the running back room, was the 4th leading rusher last year. You also were going to get Penny Boone from Toledo, then he decided to go over to UCF, so now you have Donald Chaney over from Miami. Pretty solid running back over there. He'll give a boost to this running back room for sure. You also did lose your top target in the wide receiver room last year, led the way in all 3 major categories. That's receptions, yards, and touchdowns. 63 catches for 858 yards and 6 touchdowns. He is gone to the NFL, is Jamari Thrash to my Cleveland Browns. You also do lose Kevin Coleman, my apologies, and Amari Higgins-Bruce out of the wide receiver room through the transfer portal. And let's just go, 1 tight end is gone as well. Joey Gatewood did graduate last season, 9 catches for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. Pretty solid season for him. So Chris Bell, Jimmy Callaway, and Jaden Thompson will be back in this wide receiver room, and you get some very talented players coming over from the transfer portal as well. Ja'Cory Brooks, he's over from Bama. Colin Lacey, a very good wide receiver that you should know the name of, because he comes over from South Alabama. Why should you know that? Well, you can't help but draw parallels to Jamari Thrash, who was a Georgia State transfer. South Alabama is another Sun Belt team. Colin Lacey, very, very good player. And Antonio Meeks comes into the room as well. I believe he comes over from a Division II program, but all three of those guys should still play some solid minutes. Nate Kursky is coming back in the tight end room, but you do get a lot of tight ends coming in to this room. Mark Redmond, Jaleel Skinner, and Isaiah Cummings are all coming in through the transfer portal. Probably looking at Redmond, Skinner, and Cummings being the three lead guys in this tight end room. And with Brian Hudson, Willie Tyler, and Eric Miller all graduating off the offensive line, you're going to have to fill some holes there. But Michael Gonzalez, Renato Brown, and Trevante Sylvester all come back, with Jonathan Mendoza, Pete Nigra, I definitely pronounced that last name, I apologize, Monroe Mills, and Victor Cutler all coming in through the transfer portal. This is a very good Louisville, or I should say was a very good Louisville offensive team last year, and they lost a ton of dynamic weapons. Jordan and Thrash were two really, really good skill position players in the running back and wide receiver room, respectively, for this team. Again, can Tyler Shuck stay healthy? Can he deliver a career season? Can he deliver a full season? That's a huge question mark for the Cardinals this year. You take a look at some of the guys they're bringing in through the transfer portal. They're bringing in some really good talent, especially in that wide receiver room. I think the wide receiver room is going to be good. The running back room probably won't be where it was last year. But again, the big question mark here, can you fill the holes on the offensive line, and how good will Tyler Shuck be for this team? That is the massive question for Louisville's offense entering 2024. Question marks on the defense arise too, as well. You do lose some pretty good talent out of this defensive side. A defensive side that was really, really good last year. Definitely took a little bit to start to find its pass rush that it had in 2022, but 2023 it still was able to generate 34 sacks. You do lose a lot of guys off of that defensive line though that were able to get some good sacks, including Stephen Herron, who has gone through graduation. Only had 1 sack last year, but 31 tackles. I believe was a top 10 tackler. And then you lose some guys through the portal as well. Jermaine Lowell, Jeffrey Clark, and Cameron Wilson are all gone. Lowell was definitely the leader among those guys I just mentioned, 19 tackles and a sack and a half last year. Those other two guys, a little bit more depth pieces than anything else. So yes, while you do lose some pretty solid talent, including Herron, a lot of your guys that generated sacks last year are coming back on this defensive line, including Ashton Gelati. Again, if I'm saying that last name wrong, please correct me in the comment section below, but had 11 sacks to go along with 45 tackles last year. He will be the leader again on the defensive line. Mason Rieger, Raymond Puryear, Desmond Tell, and Jared Dawson all come back, and the rich just get richer. You add even more to this defensive line that is going, you add more to the defensive line through the transfer portal. That's Thor Griffith. Man, try saying that 5 times fast. He's coming in through the transfer portal, as well as Jordan Garrad. I had to switch the R and the I there, and Griffith, I definitely saw that typo. Linebacker room is going to be losing some solid pieces as well. No one to the NFL, but a lot of guys through the transfer portal. The most notable one being Jalen Alderman. He was a top 5 tackler for the team last year, 62 of them, a sack and a half. He was a really good linebacker, really good leader, has gone through the transfer portal. Jackson Hamilton and Keith Brown are going to be some other guys that are leaving this room as well. Again, more depth pieces than anything, although Hamilton did have double-digit tackles last season. So TJ Quinn comes back. You also do get Antonio Watts and Stanquan Clark to all return here to this defense. TJ Quinn was the leading tackler last year at 91 of them, and Juriente Davis enters in through the transfer portal. He could be a really big piece to this linebacker room, and he's going to be coming over from Texas A&M, so that's a really good get there for the Louisville Cardinals. Defensive back room does lose some talent as well. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Storm Duck are 2 corners that are going to be leaving to the NFL. Brownlee Jr., 6 passes defended, 1 interception last season. Storm Ducks, 5 passes defended last year, both of them with 30 tackles. You also do lose Cameron Kelly out of the safety position, 3rd leading tackler last year with 70 of them, 2 pass defended, 2 picks. And then you do lose Josh Minkins through the transfer portal as well. Again, another depth piece. So your defensive back room looks like this. Really only one notable returning cornerback, but that is Quincy Riley. And he led the team in he led the team in passes defended last year, was 2nd on the team in interceptions, 10 pass defended, 3 interceptions, was a top 10 tackler for the team last year as well. So you're really supplementing a lot of guys in the cornerback room through the transfer portal. Corey Thornton is coming in from UCF. Tayon Holloway is over from North Carolina. And Tavian Nicholson is coming into the room as well. He is over from the Illinois Fighting Illini. And in your safety room, Devin Neal, Benjamin Perry, and MJ Griffin all come back, and you add a lot of talent to the portal in the safety room as well. Tamarian McDonald, Blake Ruffin, and Dave McCullough are all transfers coming in. McDonald comes over from Tennessee. Blake Ruffin is coming over from an FCS program, but he was really good over there in Eastern Illinois. And then you also have McCullough, who will be coming in by way, I believe, of Oklahoma. Yes, Oklahoma, it says right there. A couple stats on some of the defensive backs that are coming back here. Neal, 6 passes defended. He led the team with 4 interceptions last year and was the team's second leading tackler. And again, those other guys, 2 really solid players as well. Kickers are people too, and you don't lose anyone out of the special teams room. So Brady Hodges and a punter/kicker in Brock Travelstead both will be coming back to this kicking room. I expect really good things out of Louisville's defense yet again in 2024. The defensive line is going to be outstanding. Yes, you lost really talented players in that secondary, but you get a lot of guys coming in through the transfer portal, and you return a lot of your top guys from last year. I mean, yes, you lose Brownlee and Duck and Kelly. All 3 are very talented players, but Riley and Neal, that cornerback and safety duo, are coming back. Lots of talent comes in through the transfer portal. Your leading sack man is back from last season. He should have double-digit sacks again in 2024. This is the defense that's going to be absolutely outstanding. Maybe to get to the super elite level, you can probably ask for that secondary to take a step up, but they're a really good rush defense. They generate sacks. They're really good on third down. They will be one of the country's better defensive units in 2024, if not one of the country's best defensive units, instead of just being one of the better. That got confusing fast. So let's move on here. Let's talk about Louisville's schedule in 2024. Any game at home will be underlined, while any game on the road is in italics. That's that slanted text. Any game in green is an easy win for the Cardinals, while any game in yellow, okay, the other team's going to push and fight, but I still think the Cardinals are able to win. And of course, red is any predicted loss. So let's dive on in talking about the Louisville schedule in 2024. And to me, the Louisville Cardinals are going to be able to get 2 easy wins to kick off this season, try to test out some of these new defensive weapons, some of the new offensive weapons as well. Austin Peay is an FCS level program. Louisville's one of the better teams in the FBS. I think they'll have no problem with them. And then I do think Jacksonville State should be a fairly easy win for this Louisville Cardinals team as well. Jacksonville State, a team that could see a jump up from where they were last season, but still very, very... I'm actually remembering that the opposite way. Jacksonville State probably could take a step back from where they were last year, as they were actually a really, really good team in the Conference USA realm in their first season, but they won't challenge the Louisville Cardinals here. Then you get your first bye week of the year, so you get an extra week of preparation before your first ACC game against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Now, this is an interesting one to me, because I think Georgia Tech has got a lot of pieces necessary to be able to beat a team like Louisville. And Georgia Tech is a program that's trending in the right direction, and I feel like it's a program that's just going to get more and more competitive every single year. But this game is at home. Louisville's home stadium will be rocking, and while Georgia Tech, I think, sneakily puts up a fight in this game. It was a very good game, I believe, in Atlanta last season. I think Georgia Tech is going to be able to win this game, or no, my apologies. I think Louisville is going to be able to win this game. Yellow Jackets come up short, and the Cardinals start out 3-0 in 2024. But here, I think, is where they suffer their first loss to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, they did beat Notre Dame last season. Granted, they did beat them at home. This game going on the road, I think will prove to be a little bit tougher for them, and I think Notre Dame wins this game. I love the squad that Marcus Freeman has built. They've got a really good quarterback coming in Riley Leonard, some really, really young but really good weapons in both the running back and the wide receiver room. They always seem to have good offensive linemen, good tight end play, and the defense under Marcus Freeman usually really, really good. So Notre Dame going to be a team that's going to contend for a playoff spot this year, much like the Louisville Cardinals that I am predicting here, but I think the Irish are a little better off, and being at home will make a difference. Louisville will drop that game. Then you get to play SMU in week 6, and I think, again, much like the Georgia Tech game, this one is going to be sneaky. SMU's got a quarterback by the name of Preston Stone that I and a lot of other people around the country really, really like. SMU's always got some really, really speedy wideouts as well. And I think the Mustangs are going to be built to compete in the ACC right away. They could have a pretty darn good record in their first season in a Power 4 conference, but I do think Louisville will be too much for them, especially that pass rush. I think we'll get back to Preston Stone too much, and Louisville will win that game to start a new winning streak, which they will continue on the road against Virginia. Now, I don't think Virginia is going to be awfully terrible this year, but I don't think they're going to be that great. Definitely not as good as they need to be beat a team like Louisville. So Louisville wins that game on the road. Then they get to come at home and play Miami, and you got to watch out for the Hurricanes this season. If there's ever a season to where Miami is going to make that climb to try to get back to the elite ranks of college football, this is the year to do it. They killed it in the transfer portal. Cam Ward is coming in to play quarterback. They got Damian Martinez to come in to play running back. He's a transfer from Oregon State. By the way, Cam Ward, a Washington State transfer. Oh, and a 1,000-yard receiver, and Xavier Restrepo is coming back. The defense is loaded with talent as well. And Miami is a team that can definitely contend for a playoff spot in 2024. But with this game being at home and this pass rush in Louisville and how good this defense is going to be and how much I expect this secondary to take a step in the right direction. Maybe they allow under 200 passing yards per game last year. That's what Miami's going to do. Now, Louisville's going to allow more than 200 passing yards in this game because of the style that Miami will play. And it's going to be tough to try to defend Cam Ward and Damian Martinez, but I think they can do it. And especially if Tyler Shuck is still that quarterback, this is the point where a lot of weapons are going to start to break out. I think Tyler Shuck gives this Louisville team the best chance to win. And at home against the Miami Hurricanes, I see a very, very close win against Miami in one of the games of the year in the ACC Conference. You got to go on the road and play Boston College. And even though the Eagles put up a fight here, yes, it was a thrashing last year. I think Boston College going to be a little more competitive with Louisville this season. And I think, again, this game simply is being highlighted in yellow because I could see it as a look. You're coming off a big win. You got a massive road test the very next upcoming week. This is definitely a potential trap game for the Louisville Cardinals. That being said, Boston College definitely not as talented as Louisville, and the Cardinals win this game. But I do have them losing their second game of the year on the road to the Clemson Tigers. Year 2 of Garrett Riley, year 2 of Cade Klubnik. I think both the offense and the play of Klubnik will take a step in the right direction for Clemson. The defense is going to improve their stats from last year. They're going to start to get back to the elite ranks of college football as it is loaded with talent. You still got a lot of very good skill position players there. And even though the use of the transfer portal is not there, Clemson will be an ACC contender in 2024, and I got the Cardinals going on the road and losing a very, very close game on the road in a tough environment to the Tigers. Then you get your second bye week of the year, comes at a perfect time. You're coming off a huge win, a game in which I think Louisville gets a scare, and then a road loss. You get to regroup before you hit your third straight road game against the Stanford Cardinal. Troy Taylor's squad just has to show me that they're ready to compete in this conference. They didn't show me a lot last year in the Pac-12. Yes, I know they beat the Colorado Buffaloes, but Colorado didn't have an offensive line last year. Stanford, I don't think is going to be that tough of a matchup for the Louisville Cardinals. I see them going on the road, being able to get that win pretty easily, but then you got to come back home and play a Pitt team that beat Louisville last season. That was just kind of one of those losses, and look, Louisville had a very manageable schedule last year. That's just one of those losses that you look at and say, well, that's just the magic and reality of college football. Won't happen this year. Louisville is more talented. Pitt loses some good players. Louisville will win that game. But I think the dominance in the Kentucky rivalry continues for the Wildcats. Final game of the year. Kentucky's got a lot of very good talent leaving the team. Sure, you take a look at, I believe their leading rusher, leading receiver is gone. You're also losing Devin Leary at quarterback. But you've got a lot of talented players on that team. A lot of good players coming in defensively for the Wildcats. And again, this is just a rivalry that they have dominated. Now, very winnable game for the Louisville Cardinals, yes, but I see it as a loss, and that takes me to a 9-3 record for the Louisville Cardinals, which I do not think is a bad record at all. I'm sorry about that. I apologize for that as well. Something happened there as I went to change it, but I had to change that conference record because it was incorrect. A 7-1 conference record. And look, they very well could go on the road and beat Clemson, especially if Clemson's offense doesn't take that jump. Very manageable schedule again for this team. A good shot to get back to the ACC title game, with a 7-1 conference record, that may do it. Let me know what you think about the Cardinals in the comments section below. Hey, we're going to do the Kansas Jayhawks up next. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder, and I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.